Hey everybody, welcome back to the study stream. My name's Chris. This is Didactish, and this is my daily study stream. Apologies for starting this off very, very late, but I'm here and we are ready to do some studying. So, for those of you who are new here, the way this will work is that 2 Pomodoro sessions will be done. Usually it's 3, but I started late because I was very sleep deprived preparing for a midterm today, which I actually think I did pretty well on. So yeah, 2 Pomodoro sessions will be done today, and they will last 50 minutes long. In between, we'll have a 10-minute break, and I'll walk you through some very useful habits to make sure your body and your eyes are well rested. What does that entail? Well, that entails resting our eyes for 1 minute, since we'll be focusing on pretty close screens or books or written work while we're focusing for 50 minutes. So we need to rest our eyes. Then I'll also advise you to get up, walk around. I used to walk you through some exercises to do, but I think it's better that I just specifically allocate time for you to get up and walk around, in which I encourage you to do the same. So that's how it's going to work. If there's anybody else in live chat, now would be a great time to actually announce what it is you want to get done, so that you can prepare your environment to help keep you accountable to the thing you want to get done. So, for example, I am trying to get 2 things done over these next 2 hours. Those 2 things include the planning of a project that I've been working on, as well as a brief homework assignment for my operating systems class. Those are the 2 main things I will be trying to focus on for the time being. And yeah, so I guess there's no one in live chat right now, but if there were, I would also encourage you to leave something in chat describing what it is you want to get done over this work session. And explicitly stating your goal is really, really helpful, because it makes it concrete in your mind and it helps keep you accountable. If you're watching this as a VOD, after the fact, after the stream is done, I would still explicitly write down what you're trying to get done over the session, say on a post-it note, and put that note somewhere visible. Say, like, post it right on top of your computer screen. I would also now shift my environment as much as possible to make working on my goal as easy as possible. So what does that mean? That means you close all distracting, unnecessary tabs. That means you open up all the tabs and programs that you need, but only all the ones you need. That means moving to a different room if needed, that's quiet and allows you to focus on your work as much as possible. And that means you let other people in your environment know that you'll be focusing on work if you need to. Say, if you're in a dorm room and there's no way to move to another room where you can isolate yourself and only focus on work. This is meant to make sure that you isolate yourself from as much distractions as possible, because distractions will ultimately mess up the Pomodoro session and seriously limit how much you can get done in these focused work sessions. In fact, if you don't require internet, or there's a way for you to do what you need to do without internet access, I actually highly recommend turning off Wi-Fi then. So say downloading all the files you need to work and then working offline, because that is having the ability to access the internet tends to mean that you have notifications on, tends to mean that if something crosses your mind, you now have the ability to waste your time browsing. So I highly recommend, if possible, you sort of cut off your internet access if you don't need internet in order to in order to work on what you want. Now, obviously, it makes it more difficult to follow along the stream. So if you need the stream for the study music I'll be playing, then you should keep your internet on. But if not, then I would actually recommend starting the timer at the same time as the stream, and then turning off the internet and following along on that timer. And then when the timer is done, you can join us for the break where I'll walk through good habits. I'll chat with live chat and maybe discuss some productivity tips on my own if no one's here. And we can interact. So yeah, that is what I recommend. And yeah, so I've stated my goals, the operating systems homework I have, and the planning phase for that project that I have. And yeah, that should be everything. I think we're good. We should be good to start. So I'll be playing some study music that I found on YouTube Audio Library at the same time. If you're following along in the stream, because you need the stream to focus, this music should help. I won't be talking. I'll just be working with the music playing. Again, when the break comes, we can interact and whatnot. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Again, apologies that this is only going for 2 hours rather than 3. I messed up my schedule, but it's fine. I'm still trying to get in that 2-hour study session, and hopefully this one will be very, very helpful for anybody watching. And yeah, if you are watching again, don't forget to like and subscribe. I do this every weekday, usually at 4:30, although this time I sort of messed it up. And I will be posting YouTube videos of my own very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. All right, so let's get into the first work session. I'm going to start the timer and I'm going to set the music going. Okay, well, that is the end of that work session. Uh, Fortunately, I have my mic turned off because the building just had a test of the fire alarm system, like literally right as the timer ended, which is honestly really inconvenient timing. But it's done now, so I can go over stuff. So that officially makes it 1 out of 2 Pomodoro sessions done. Now I will go over what I normally do during break times, which is reinforcing good habits for eye care and for um, your body in terms of working for long periods of time. So right now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set a timer for 1 minute, and essentially we're gonna follow a version of the 20-20-20 rule recommended by ophthalmologists, which is the rule that for every 20 minutes of looking at something close, such as a screen, such as a book, you should look at something 20 feet or farther, 20 feet away or farther for about 20 seconds. Since we just worked for about 50 minutes, I'm going to edit that a little bit, and instead we're going to fixate on something 20 feet or farther for a minute. So right now, if you're following along live or you're following along in the VOD, this break will start off with us first finding something that we can fixate our eyes on for 1 minute. That is something that is 20 feet or farther away. So, for example, I'm sitting next to a window. I can look across the street to the building across the street, look at, say, like a light fixture a couple floors up, and fixate on that for my 1 minute. If you have something similar available to you, I would recommend looking at that. So, hopefully, you've found something to fixate your eyes on, to rest your eyes for 1 minute. I am going to start the timer and fixate on my thing for 1 minute. And we will all rest our eyes for this 1 minute by fixating on the far away thing. All right, so I'm going to start the timer right now. If you're following along, keep looking. Don't necessarily strain your eyes intensely. This is just to readjust your eyes to looking at faraway things after constantly keeping them adjusted to look at close things for so long. So don't necessarily squint or strain your eyes, just concentrate on looking at the faraway thing that you're fixating on. It shouldn't be painful. It shouldn't hurt a lot unless your eyes were already hurting and you're already getting headaches from looking at things very close to yourself for long periods of time. Right now, though, it should just be relaxing, just calmly looking and focusing at the far away object. Keep going. And there's the timer. Awesome. So that is the eye rest down. And now I usually set a timer for about 9, but this time 8 because I spent some time explaining. 8 minutes. So at this point, when you're on a Pomodoro break, I highly recommend making these breaks as active as possible. Meaning, get up from your desk, get some water, go to the bathroom, things like that. Things where you have to move around, because sitting stationary is not what the human body is well designed for. So instead, what I'm going to recommend you do is that you get up and you move around. That could, again, include getting water, which is very good because it also makes sure you're staying hydrated. That could mean using the bathroom. So, for example, I had to use the bathroom in the middle of my Pomodoro session, which definitely interrupted my workflow. So using the bathroom now is much, much more ideal when you're not focusing on anything. This will make sure your focus sessions are concentrated on the work at hand. And yeah, so I am going to refill my water. I'll leave you with a quick BRB screen. And then I'll come back while there's still a couple of minutes to, since there's no one in live chat to engage with right now, just discuss some productivity tips and whatnot. Maybe go over how my last Pomodoro session went, which is what I typically do with people when they're in live chat, and what I'm struggling with, and what tips and advice I could give to people working at home, sitting at home, and whatnot. So I will be right back. I got to refill my water really quick. I leave you with this screen briefly. Okay, I'm back. And here I am. Cool. Still have 5 minutes of break left. Let's see if anybody is in live chat. No, not really. That's all right. So, given that's the case, I guess I will discuss my last Pomodoro session as well as what productivity tips I can offer. So, that last session went pretty well. I got through the operating systems homework pretty fast. Then I started focusing on replanning, which is another task I had planned for today, but wasn't necessarily going to do during this session. So that is just fixing my calendar and making sure that that essentially there's no overflow of events that I don't know when they're being assigned. I like to explicitly assign certain hours of the day to specific tasks, which helps me control my time much more finely than if I were to just generally say on my to-do list, this is what I kind of want to get done today. And that is actually my productivity tip right now, which is that having a task manager is very effective at detailing what exactly you want to get done in a day, but I always recommend pairing a task manager with a calendar like Google Calendar so that you can actually budget your time specifically about how long you expect to take on each task. Now, it is important that we humans have certain biases, one of which is called the planning fallacy, in which we chronically underestimate how much time it takes to complete a task. So this is a word of caution for people who are starting to use calendars. It will be the case that you will have to replan things because your schedule will be harsh on you and cause you and force you to reschedule things. So it's important to keep track of how long things actually take, and that's where time tracking software such as Toggle is helpful. So at the same time as using Todoist for task management and Google Calendar for a calendar, I use Toggle to actually track how long each task and each action really takes, and to even keep track of how long I spend screwing around on different things like YouTube or just browsing the internet or things like that instead of doing what I intend to do. So that helps me give me a much better estimate as to how long things will actually take. Now, that being said, your ideal scheduling of things will never be correct. You will always have to replan things, so you should be used to and comfortable with manipulating your calendar at the peak of your productivity system. This is because it probably will be the case that each night or every few nights you'll have to reshuffle tasks and events around because your planning was incorrect. And trust me, everybody's planning is always incorrect. So I guess the thing about these tools is that they're very, very useful, and they're all very, very limited in what they can do, and they're never themselves a perfect way of assuring that you are productive. At the end of the day, it's your own habits, it's the physical environment you set up, it's so many different factors about yourself and your environment that determine whether you get stuff done. Just having these apps, although they're very helpful, is not a panacea that guarantees you will get more done. However, these are very, very helpful in making it easier to get more done because you can figure out what you need to do. You can budget your time to do those tasks with a calendar, and you can get some really, really good data on how long it actually takes you to do things using a time tracking software like Toggle. So yeah, Google Calendar, Todoist, and Toggle are basically my trifecta of planning things outside of my other documents and whatnot that I use to visualize things about, my goals and whatnot. But in terms of like the day-to-day planning, the trifecta, I think, at least for me, is Google Calendar, Todoist, Toggle. I think that is essentially the ideal trifecta of apps that someone should be using. Okay. It looks like the timer just went off. So we'll be starting off on our next work session. I will reset the music and I will reset the timer. So really quick, let's set this back to 50 minutes. Cool. Let's get this music set up. There we go. All right. So I will start the timer and I will see you guys on the other side. Okay. That is the second work session done. So now we are at our break time. And like all break times, I will begin with the routine to rest our eyes. So I'm going to set a timer for 1 minute. There we go. We're ready to go. So if you still have the object that you fixated on last break that's 20 feet away or farther, I want you to find that object again in your sights. And we're going to fixate on that object to rest our eyes for 1 minute. So I'm looking at the last item I fixated on, which is that light across the street. And I'm going to start the timer now. And again, remember, do not strain your eyes intensely in this exercise. This is just to readjust your sight and your vision such that your eyes are not solely being optimized to look at things that are close to you. Rather, it should be looking at something far in order to balance out the long time you've been looking at stuff that's very close. Keep looking. Keep looking. There we go. Okay, so that is the second break, or the second Pomodoro session done. I'm going to update my Pomodoro counter such that we are at 2 out of 2, and that is a victorious work session completed. Let's take a look at the YouTube chat. Yep. Okay, still running. Everything's fine. Cool. So that is our second Pomodoro session done. Hopefully this was useful if you're following along live, or if you're following along. It was mostly just me fixing up my calendar. Oh. Sorry, there was a brief glitch in the stream, but it's all working right now. Anyways, my last Pomodoro session went well. Yeah, I stayed focused for the entire time. I kept my posture pretty well, and I got a fair amount of rescheduling done. In fact, for the most part, my schedule is perfectly fine now, and now I was just doing the planning phase of the other thing I was working on. Hello. Yes, it looks like someone is in chat. Unfortunately, this was a 2-hour Pomodoro session, and as you can see by the timer on the stream, 2 hours has actually passed. So unfortunately, Muku, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, you did happen to join at the end of the stream, unfortunately, rather than the beginning. So I'm sorry about that. But hopefully, if you're not looking for another study stream to follow, maybe you could rewatch the VOD of this once I end the stream. That might help you if you need to focus for 2 hours. But yeah, unfortunately, you did come at the exact wrong time. So apologies for that. I guess still, now that you're here, I can at least engage with an audience a little bit. So what is it that you wanted to get done during this study session? Perhaps I could give some advice of some kind, maybe help you get set up for hopping onto another study stream with another streamer. And do keep in mind that there is a bit of a delay in terms of your chats and when I actually respond to them, just because that's how the streaming system works. Apologies if there's any long spans of silence on my part. There's a little bit of a latency delay in my stream. I guess some general tips for getting set up for a study stream. Study streams are very good if you're just a viewer. as long as you have your environment set up properly to enjoy them correctly, meaning that unless you're just watching someone study for fun, which there's actually plenty of people who do that. Oh, okay. I guess Muku is leaving. That's all right. I guess this is just a general tip for anybody watching. The best way to engage with study streams is to set up your environment such that you can participate in the study stream as best as possible. So what does that mean? That means that you keep the stream on, you keep the stream visible and make it obvious that the person is working in order to pressure you to work. But you also have to change aspects of your environment to lower the amount of distractions that could pull you away from the actual act of studying. So, for example, that might mean moving to a separate room, which is very, very quiet, doesn't have anybody else in, or if you live with roommates, having some agreement where your roommates don't bother you for the duration of how long you need to study. That might also mean being very, very disciplined about what tabs you keep open. So, for example, there's a lot of Chrome extensions that you can install that block certain websites, and you can actually set times when those websites are blocked. So when you're engaging in a study stream, it's nice to have some of those extensions active, blocking common sites that you use to distract yourself, whether that's like Facebook, whether that's Reddit. YouTube is a bit more difficult, though there is often some way to green light certain channels while blacklisting other channels. So that's another tactic to use. A thing that is really helpful for me with study streams, watching study streams anyways, is to actually write down what I want to get done over the course of the study stream if you don't have, say, like a calendar or task manager set up already. So that means like taking out a Post-it note, writing the exact thing you want to get done in each Pomodoro session of the study session, putting like checkboxes next to them, and then sticking that Post-it note in the corner of your laptop screen if you're following on a laptop. That is really, really helpful because it keeps the tasks that you have to get done very obvious and very, very concrete. A lot of times it's very easy to slip into distraction when you only have a very vague idea of what you want to get done. So that is another tip. Yeah, those are the main things I would keep in mind when you're engaging with study streams like this one or like any other ones. Always be very, very deliberate about how you set up your environment before you hop on a study stream so that you get the most out of a study stream. And in fact, there's some communities which actually have video calls between different members of the study stream so that everyone keeps each other accountable, so that you constantly feel like you are being, observed by other people in the group who are trying to study. And if you can set up that sort of system where you have like an actual video call with other people where other people can see you, then that is the ideal amount of group accountability, because you'll actually feel the social pressure of people observing you if you distract yourself. So those are the tips I have for making the most out of study streams. I guess that's my productivity tip for the end of this stream, which is how I usually end this stream. And yeah, that about wraps up this study stream. Yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. I do this every weekday, although this Friday I most likely will not be study streaming because I'm visiting my parents. I stream usually for 3 hours every weekday, so please join me every weekday for that. I'm also working on my first video for the channel, which should be very, very good. The topic I think I'm focusing on is procrastination and how societal forces, especially in the West, sort of design an environment that makes it progressively harder and harder to focus on things. Hopefully it'll turn out to be a good video. Still working on that script. Stay tuned for that. Again, like and subscribe if you want to if you're interested in that topic and want to check that video out. I am going to now transition to the end screen. I will see you guys tomorrow for when I do my regular study stream. Hopefully you'll be able to join me then. And until then, goodbye.